Welcome back, friends. In the Literature's Law Education classes, we will continue today with our Constitution class. In the previous classes, we have got an introduction to Constitution. What do we mean by Constitution? Why do we need a Constitution? And we have understood the term of constitutionalism. What do we mean by constitutionalism? Now that we have got a basic idea of Constitution, we will start with Preamble. When we read Preamble, the first phrase, that is given in the preamble is we the people of India. That is, the people of India has made this constitution. It defines the source of the constitution. Before 1947, we were under the dictatorship rule of the British government. After we got independence, we resolved to make India a democratic form of government. Now, in a democracy, a constitution that is the supreme law of the land can get the legitimacy only when it gets the acceptance of the people. To get this legitimacy, to get this acceptance, it was necessary that the constitution should be made by the people of India. Now, practically, it was 296 members of the Constituent Assembly who made the constitution. But these people, these members, they were the representative of the people. And as a representative, they voiced the concerns and ideals of the people of India. So when they made the constitution, it was actually the people of India made this constitution. Through which, through this point, this constitution was given the required legitimacy it required. Now, when we say we the people of India, it means all the people of India has made this constitution. It defines the source of the constitution. So this is the first point that we need to understand in the preamble. Now to understand preamble, we have to study preamble in two main dimensions. The preamble in our constitution, it defines the nature of the state in one hand. On the other hand, it also defines the objective of the constitution. हमने constitution बनाया क्यों? हमारी कुछ ideals है, कुछ principles है. In fact, to define what preamble is, there are many jurists, many constitutional experts, they have given their different version. Some said the preamble is the gist of the constitution. There are almost 450 articles in our constitution. Our constitution is one of the lengthiest constitution in the world. Preamble is just a gist form of this bulky constitution. On the other hand, some jurists says it is the identity card of a constitution. Like an identity card is given to a person and it holds a few basic information about the person, the name of the person, the blood group, the address. Anyway, similarly, the preamble also holds some basic information of the constitution. Some jurists are of the view that this preamble holds the ideals, the principles of the constitution. Whatever ideals, on whatever principles our constitution was made, is given in this preamble part. Now we'll understand these principles, these ideals through these two dimensions, two things. One is nature of state, that defines how India is, in what type of state India is, and the goal of the state, the goal of this constitution. There are many things, there are many ideals, there are many objectives which we still have not achieved. But it is our goal, it is our purpose to achieve them. Let us see one by one. So two things. One is nature of state, and the other one is objective. You must be knowing that the preamble was written at the end of the constitution. That means when the whole constitution was drafted and it it went on through 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, almost 3 years. And after this period, our constitution was made. At the end, looking at the whole text, this preamble was written, and it was passed through a resolution introduced by Jawaharlal Nehru, and it was named the Objective Resolution of the Constitution. So it can be understood that the constitution makers, our forefathers, what they wanted to achieve through this constitution was codified in this preamble. Now, in nature of state, what are the terms that has been mentioned? There are 5 terms that has been mentioned as the nature of state. They are sovereign, socialist, democratic, republic, and secular. These are the 5 terms that has been mentioned as the nature of state. India is a sovereign, socialist, democratic, republic, and secular country. And in the objective, there are 4 objectives that has been mentioned. They are justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. Now these ideals, these objectives, these principles, they were taken from different historical events. In this modern world, many significant historical events had influenced our constitution makers. Now, in these four objectives, these three, these three was taken. I'm sorry, not these three. These three, that is equality, liberty, and fraternity. These 3 objectives were taken from French Revolution. From French Revolution. And the idea of justice was taken from Russian Revolution. From Russian Revolution. Now we have to understand each term individually. First, we will understand the nature of state. Sovereign. India is a sovereign country. Now what do we mean by sovereign? It means that India as a sovereign country has the power, has the ability to interact with other powers. It is being said in the other way India has the ability to formulate its own internal and external policies independently without any external information, external influence. India can make its own laws according to the society demands, and no other country can influence, can pressurize India to make some other laws which India do not require. It will India who will decide what type of law India needs. Now, on the external front, it is India who decides what type of relation has to be kept with which country. No other country, no other organization can influence India or can pressurize India to keep a good relation with a country which India do not want to keep, or to keep a bad relation with a country which India do not wish. It is India who decides what type of relation India need to keep with which country. Now, sovereignty is a nature of state and India is sovereign. As a matter of fact, all the countries in a modern society, in a modern world, is a sovereign country. Every country has their right to decide their own affairs, and no other country can interfere into the internal and external affairs of the other country. But but to think practically, is it so that is happening around? That means, do you really believe that India's external relations are not being influenced by the other countries or other organization, international organization? For example, United Nations. There are other international organizations also, WTO, IMF, World Bank. In a modern connected world, in a modern world of globalization, every country is connected. And United Nations, WTO, IMF, World Bank, they influence the external affairs, external relations of the country. Now, it can be, in one hand, in one point of view, can be considered as a breach of sovereignty. Now, if it is a breach of sovereignty, then why is India allowing it? And if India is allowing it, then can India be said that India is no more a sovereign country? To answer this question, we have to go in depth a little. See, when India agreed, when India signed the United Nations resolution, when United India became the member of WTO, it became the member of WTO or the United Nations by its own will. Now it is India who agreed by its own will to obey by this organization, by the ideals of the world, by the world order. In a society, in a society, no member is independent of each other. Every country, every member has to depend on each other. The world is also like a society where the members are the countries. And as a member, the country has to depend on each other. So in a globalized world, India cannot stay isolated from the other countries. It is one reason why India agreed to obey by the United Nations and WTO, this international organization. So it is a way of cooperation among the nations to fulfill the world order, to keep peace and order in the world. Secondly, when India became a member of this organization, India did it using its sovereignty. No other organization or no other country imposed the decision on India that you have to be member of this organization. We did not become a member of CTBT. We did not become a member of NPT, and no other country could impose it on us. But when we used our sovereignty, to agree that we will obey this organization, and then when we obey this organization, it cannot be said that these are the violation of sovereignty, because we used our sovereignty to do it. That is why it cannot be said that this is a violation of sovereignty and we still remain intact as a sovereign country. I hope this point has been made clear. Second, we will see two terms at the same time, simultaneously. That is democratic and republic. Now, sometimes students get confused and they use these two terms interchangeably. They think democratic and republic are same, but that is not so. Republic means where the head of state is non-hereditary. Head of state is non-hereditary, and a democratic means the government where the government is elected by governed, that is the people. Now if India is a republic country, that means the head of state is non-hereditary. In our country, the head of state is president. We are a republic country, but UK is a non-republic country. UK is a monarchical country. In UK, in England, the head of state is crown. So the post of head of state is remaining, that it remains generation after generation in the family. But India, this is not the case. The president is elected and it does not remain within a single family. Every 5 years, after 5 years terms, a new president is elected. Now that means it does not remain within the family and it is non-hereditary. Now there are many countries where the head of state is not elected. For example, China. China is not a democratic country because in China the government is not elected. India is both, because the government in India, which is run by the prime minister, is democratically elected, and the head of the state, that is the president, is also elected. In China, the government is not elected by the people. So China is not a republic, but China is not a democratic, but China is a republic.